Hey music fans! As a roadie, I had this great opportunity to tour with all these bands. I wrote a book about my experiences on the road, and it was the #1 new release on Amazon and Bios, and it's now sold millions of copies on Kindle. I'm Joel Roadie, and this is my podcast, Party Like a Rock Star. What does my friend Chad Olech think about Dimash? I think he's gonna like him, that's what I think, but let's find out together. Chad Olech is a front-of-house engineer. He's also a tour manager. He's worked for bands like Linkin, Puddle of Mud, Survivor, Thin Lizzy, Flogging, Molly, Chevelle, Anthrax, Daughtry, Deftones, Weezer, Panic at the Disco, Shinedown, PETER FRAMPTON, Jason Bonham, Disturbed, and Fall Out Boy. At the end of this, I did talk a little bit about the lip syncing thing, and I brought it up to Chad just because front of house is the little roadie booth. When you go to a show, it's the guy out in the audience, and he's mixing the sound for us all to hear. I think where he's situated and what he does for a living, he'd be a good person to ask about lip syncing. And so I'm not going to do this on every episode, and I don't want to be redundant because we talk about it at the end of this episode, but I did want to discuss it because a lot of people are really mad at me. How I always felt was whether he was lip syncing or not, I don't care. I think he's brilliant, and I know that a lot of artists do. I'm not saying he did, and after watching this performance, I'm quite confident he wasn't. I think he would have to win an Oscar if you focus on his mouth and his neck and everything. This time, you'll see he's singing, and but I'm going into all this because I just wanted you guys to know it's not that I don't care or I was dismissive or I was trying to spread lies or whatever people wrote. I just wanted to know because I didn't want to start sharing stuff with friends in the industry and be incorrect. You know, it's not the way to do things. So I'm happy to say I am a huge Dimash fan, and I don't think he was lip syncing here. And if you do, so be it. But I'll disagree with you. So anyway, there you go. There's my thoughts on all of this. Since I hadn't responded to most of you, that's what I think about it. So let's watch this together and let's enjoy Chad enjoying Dimash. Okay, this is Dimash, and this is a performance that I do regularly because I just think it's above and beyond. The hope is that you like this performance and you delve deeper into him, and the same with all the other artists that I'm playing, right? At the end of this video, I'm going to cut it short, just a heads up, because they present him with flowers and stuff, but we don't understand what they're talking about, so we only have so much time. So just a heads up, I'm going to cut it, but I'll let you know. But we'll listen to the entire performance, and you can see what you think. And I pulled this one up because you were discussing melody. So let's think of what you have to say about Dimash's melody.
Обладатель гран-при международного конкурса исполнителей эстрадной песни «Витебск 2015» Димаш Кудайберген, Казахстан.
Je vis, pourquoi je meurs, pourquoi j'arrive, pourquoi je pleure. Voici le S.O.S. d'un rien en détresse. J'ai mûri hier sur toi. Je me prendrai boisson, je seule dans ma peau. Je voudrais voler mon dans la voix. Si je me sentais plus beau. Jeu de jour, coup fou de la vie, qui m'attire, voler.
Au rôle de tout.
Pourquoi je vis? Pourquoi je meurs? Pourquoi je ris? Pourquoi je pleure? J'y crois comme pénitence. Quel était notre monde? J'ai venu vivre et sur terre. C'est je me sens de nouveau. Je m'en
I mean,
Dude, that kid has a sick range. Like, he's like Michael Bublé meets Mariah Carey. You know, like he's got, man, that kid's good. I have no idea what he was singing about, but it sounded good.
sounds so good. So, I was watching this with a hyper focus. I've seen this performance so many times and I love it. I just love it so much each time. It's amazing what he's doing. And one of the things that had come up, there's always haters, man. And so they wrote in the comments, they said, he's lip syncing. And I watched that really closely. You have done front of house for thousands of shows, literally. Was there anything in there that suggested lip syncing? I mean, you could see his body move and his throat. There's no way. He'd have to be an Oscar award-winning performer.
It's so hard to tell on on a video because if the sync is off even by a few frames, it could give you the impression that it wasn't live. Having said that, that looked like it was a TV performance of some sort. For probably for a national performance.
It is.
I'm not saying it is or isn't lip synced, but it's not unusual for a national performance TV show to be not 100% live. Having said that, I didn't see anything there that outwardly made me think that he wasn't performing. There was nothing that was totally like, oh, well, yeah, he just blew that part right there. His mouth moved and, whatever. But I could see how people could think that because, again, if the sync is off even just a hair, it's enough to kind of trick your brain into it.
Yeah, this was a sore subject.
We run across this.
Sorry.
Oh yeah. I mean, well, it's funny because we run across it live. People watch the IMAX screens left and right, and then we figured out if it's off by more than, I can't remember. I want to say if it's off by more than 8 frames or 10 frames, something like that, which is a very small amount at 30. I think we're at 30 frames per second. So if it's off by a third of the frames in 1 second, it doesn't look right to the eye, and sometimes it's not perceptible to the point of like, oh, the sync is just off. Sometimes it's off just enough to think, oh, that looks fake. And I didn't really notice that with this performance personally. But again, being a televised performance, I'm always a hair skeptical. But even if this wasn't televised, even if this was a studio performance and that was lip synced, the kid's still amazing.
That's what I think. I think he was amazing too. And I don't think this is lip synced. I was really watching it. Like, there's too much movement, and I mean, he could be singing and the mic just isn't plugged in, but it's not the case. I don't think. The only reason I bring it up this much is because I reacted to a different video and I think the sync was off. And everybody's always writing this kind of stuff. And I don't like to do anything negative. I try to keep positive, especially with artists like this guy, who I think is just amazing. Why do you got to talk about the negative? Why do you got to guesstimate that he's faking or copying? It's not fair. It's not cool. But I didn't want to keep playing something for people that isn't even in performing. It would be bad. But I'm pretty confident.
I mean, there's nothing in there. Yeah, there's nothing in there that made me think for sure it's just that he's syncing it for whatever reason. But again, even if he is, who cares? He's so good. Like, as long as that's actually him singing, as long as it's not Milli Vanilli where it's not even them performing, as long as it's actually him singing, I couldn't care less if that was synced or live. Either way, the kid is phenomenal.
So talented. His other stuff, I mean, the guy is just brilliant. But this particular performance, because they always say, why do you keep playing the same performance? I'm like, because it's amazing. And it really is. It just shows his ability.
Yeah, it's so good. I can't. I mean, there probably are other artists that I could name that have that kind of a range, but I just can't think of any off the top of my head that have that kind of vocal range to go from that middle, what is that, like an alto or whatever, all the way to all the way to like a super soprano.
Yeah, it was absolutely brilliant. So yeah, sorry to put you on the spot with the lip syncing thing. I know it's a tough question for a front of house sound guy, and of all the people watching too. I'm not going to keep bringing it up because I don't think.
Oh no, I don't mind answering it. I just don't know that there's just no right answer because you don't know. Without having more info.
Such a talented guy. So good.
But yeah, like, again, either way, who cares? He's so good.
So good. All right. Well, I'm glad you liked that a lot. Let's go back to Japan. And there's a band called Atarashi Gakko. And they're newer to me. I've known about them for maybe a month or so. And I love these young ladies. I think they're really talented. So I'm intrigued to see if you agree with me. Let's give it a go. Hey guys, I hope you enjoyed the show. I now have a Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, Discord, and even a Patreon. The Patreon you can join for as little as $1. The handle on all of them, it's of course, Joel Roadie. I'll see you guys on the next one.